Your old press releases can still bring media coverage months after they've been released. I'll give you an example that got coverage from the BBC 5 months after it was issued. I'll also give you 4 simple actions you can take to raise your chances of getting such fabulous bonus coverage. Press releases are time specific, and one of the first things you see in any release is the date. So it's easy to think that after a day or so, they've served their purpose and are no longer useful. But press releases can still bring substantial coverage and links long after they've been issued. Here's an example of a release from a consultancy company, Technomic.com, whose release got coverage and a very nice editorial link on the BBC, a full 5 months after it was released. Let's look at the article published on June the 9th, 2016. And here's the release, issued on January the 6th, 2016, 5 months before. The BBC article by Zoe Thomas explored the rising popularity of meal kits, and more specifically, niche meal kits. As you probably know, meal kits are delivered to homes and contain ingredients, a recipe, and instructions to cook a complete meal in your own kitchen. This piece was very much an overview article, summarizing the market and then featuring a number of competing companies that the journalist found interesting. Detail from the release is quoted early in the BBC article. The industry had $1 billion in global sales in 2015, and this is expected to increase to $5 billion. When writing such articles, journalists like to quote figures. That's because reliable figures give their article an air of authority, especially if they don't have in-depth knowledge in the topic they're writing about. And that's a common problem for journalists whose job means having to write well about many different topics, often at short notice. As a result, they'll turn to Google to research the background for their piece. And this is probably how the journalist came across the press release from Technomic in the first place. So you can increase the chances of getting coverage if you can imagine what a journalist might search for, and then make sure your press release is optimized for those phrases. Now, of course, we don't know exactly what the journalist in this case searched for, but we can make a good guess. For example, phrases like market study meal kits, study on the meal kit market, research on meal kit market. So let's have a look at the Google results in an incognito window. I took these screenshots the day after the article appeared. First, study on meal kit market, where Technomic come top. Second, market study meal kits, where the company comes second. And finally, research on the meal kit market, where Technomic appeared fourth in the organic results. As you can see, the company scored well across all searches. A really good piece of work by Technomic, and they got the reward with some great links. And of course, this release attracted other links too. Using the Majestic tools, I can see that 18 external domains linked to that specific press release page. Now, here's 5 things to think about when you're optimizing your press releases for future discovery. It goes without saying that your release should be newsworthy, but have you also looked for evergreen content in your story that you could optimize for? Thought about how your press release could be used, a breaking news story, but also a feature article, an opinion piece, an expert interview, and so on. Have you thought about the searches that a journalist might do if they're writing about your industry? And of course, make sure your contact details are up to date, so that if a journalist does find an old press release, they can still get in touch with you. Be prepared to respond to any queries you get from journalists. Remember, they're likely to be under time pressure, and the more you can help them, the more they'll be likely to write about you. So what about you? Have you got coverage from an old press release? If so, please share your experiences in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe using the button below. Thanks.